So, hello and welcome everyone to the second part of our first section of the Concept Art Essentials class. We are going to make a specific custom brush now. So, before we were doing a random one, and now we want to have something that is actually applicable. And in this case, I will pick the leaves. Of course, you can go along and choose the same reference. However, I encourage you to use your own image and find your own specific use custom brush. In this case, I make the most typical thing you can do. Like, it's the most basic use basically of a custom brush is probably this leafy brush. So after pressing L, I'm just going to select this little region here, this leafy region. Make sure you have your layer selected, and with Control J, I isolate this guy and just drag it a little bit in the center, and with Control T and Alt, I make it a little bigger. And now the rotation is very important. You will see this later on. You might think, okay, like I can do whatever I want, I can turn the rotation around later. But in some cases, we want to flip our image within each brush sample. So in this case, let me just erase this little guy here on the side. Usually I like these breakouts, but in this case I want to do something with a symmetry. So this is a wonderful example for that. So I want to try to keep it one shape that can actually turn in two directions. Let me drag the whole layer down and merge it with a background. Control E. When I select everything with Control A and flip it again, this would be how Photoshop actually flips our sample. And again, this is a work along class, so I really want to really just follow the workflow, and then later on you will see how certain things you can't find out when you do it for the first time, or I would say it's pretty difficult to find it out for the first time. So these are usually things that you experience when you did something like for thousands of times and realize that they're beneficial for your actual workflow. So let me get this in frame and put up the contrast. Of course, I use the levels one more time. However, I encourage you also to use the curves, pressing Control M, which are way more accurate. Levels sometimes they're a bit quicker, but if you're serious about your tones, use curves. At least keep the curves in mind when you pick the levels, because the levels are basically working on a flat spectrum, and with curves you have basically one more dimension added in which you can be much more accurate.